What are some real but crazy facts that could save your life? If your house smells like fish for absolutely no reason, 9 times out of 10 it means that there is an electrical fire. The other time it means you need to take a shower. If you get stabbed or impaled, leave the foreign object alone. Do not attempt to remove it. Yeah, it's horrible and it's freaking you out, but your odds of survival are much higher if you just leave it be. Medical professionals will remove it in an environment equipped to deal with it. I got into a heated debate with my dad at a family dinner once. He was saying how he could suffocate me by putting a plastic bag over my head, and I said, "No, I could easily get out of that." The man went and got a trash bag and put it around my head. My survival method was to suck the bag into my mouth and chew up the bag the best I could. Totally worked. If someone is trying to suffocate you with a pillow by pressing it down on your face, just rotate your head to the side and there will be a small air pocket for you to breathe. They'll probably still try to kill you afterwards, but at least you can survive for longer. If you're choking, don't get embarrassed, don't go to the bathroom, don't walk away from people. I have seen a couple people nearly die because they were panicking and walked away from the dinner tables while choking. Do the universal sign for choking with both your hands on your neck, and most people will get the message. If it's cloudy outside and you suddenly feel static run down your body and your hairs raise, lightning is about to hit dangerously close to you. Jump first to break any connection you have with the surface, then squat as low as you can with just the balls of your feet on the ground, heels touching, and cover your ears. You want as little contact with the ground as possible, and touching your heels together can redirect any electricity back to the ground in as short of a distance as possible. Since you're unlikely to be struck directly, this can minimize your damage. If you crash into an electrical pole, immediately call 911, or your country's equivalent, and stay in the car. You could have downed an electrical wire, and the wire will still be live. Assume the entire area around your car is electrified. Only get out of the car if there's an immediate danger, such as a fire. When you exit the car, make sure both feet touch the ground at the same time, and only take small, shuffling steps, and make sure both feet are always touching the ground. There were 2 teenagers from my hometown that were electrocuted after an accident like this. If you get bit by a wild animal, you must get the rabies vaccine. Rabies is not like a flu or mild inconvenience. It's one of the most lethal diseases on the planet. It has a near 100% fatality once the disease takes hold, and it's a horrible way to go. Never fully trust jack stands and put a tire under the car by the stand. This actually saved my life. I had the car up on stands with a tire underneath as well while I worked on the brakes. I was fully under the vehicle and the jack stand failed and the car dropped. Went down so fast I wasn't even sure what happened before I would have been crushed. The tire caught the vehicle and gave me just enough room to get out from under the car. If you find yourself stranded in a desert, ration sweat, not water. Of course, don't drink all of your water in one go. The rate at which you will dehydrate and overheat if exerting yourself, like walking or hiking too fast or climbing over obstacles in the heat of the day, will kill you much quicker. Many people are found dead, with water, which is terrifying. Maybe not to save your own life, but it could help you save someone else's. When performing CPR, chest compressions need to be continuous, deep, and fairly quick. Call for an ambulance first. If you can get someone to help you, do so, because it is exhausting. For an adult, good quality chest compressions should be 2 per second and 5 to 6 centimeters deep. You should lock your hands together one on top of the other, get your arms straight, lock your elbows and push hard with the heel of your bottom hand into the middle of the chest. You do not stop until help arrives. The rumor that chest compressions can crack ribs is true, but trust me, they would rather have broken ribs than be dead. If you need to check a pressurized line like a hydraulic line, never ever use your hand, use a piece of cardboard or soapy water. If you use your hand to check, the pressure can cause the fluid to cut your skin and liquids like hydraulic fluid will cause gangrene in a matter of hours. Go to the hospital immediately and get them to check you right away, don't take no for an answer. It could mean the difference between keeping versus losing your limb. Point at someone and delegate. People freeze up in emergencies or assume someone else will handle a problem. Point at someone and say, "You guy in the blue shirt, go to the gate and tell the ambulance where we are. Ma'am, please go with him." Don't ask, "Does anyone know CPR?" Point at someone and ask if they do. Even if they don't, people are more likely to step forward in fear of being asked next and judged for not acting sooner than volunteering from the beginning. Drink vodka if you get antifreeze in your system. I went to an animal CPR and emergency class, taught by an old army veterinarian. He said back in the day when they brought a dog and that consumed antifreeze, they would send a guy to the liquor store. Everybody would take a shot of the vodka because it was about to be a long night. Then they would get the dog drunk as hell, bordering on alcohol poisoning. If the body is busy filtering the vodka, it can't filter the antifreeze and it'll just pass through the system. It's when the body tries to process the antifreeze that makes you die, because it forms crystals in the kidney or liver or something. So, you have to distract the body away from the antifreeze till it passes. If someone overdoses, don't wait to discuss, or figure out if you or they will get in trouble. Every minute counts, and if the staff asks if they took anything, tell them immediately. Tests will reveal it anyway, but every minute they have to run them is another minute they can't treat the patient correctly. Do not hesitate to call emergency services for a suspected overdose, as quick treatment and response is imperative. They're not the police, they're not out to get anyone in trouble. If you do any kind of opiates or have people at your house who do often, have naloxone handy and know how to administer it. Tobacco is aseptic. If you have a wound, you can pack the filing from a cigarette into it to stave off infection. It'll numb you a little too, so that's nice. If you're a lady in a drinking establishment like a pub, bar or nightclub, and some fella is being sleazy, go into the ladies' toilets and announce it loudly to the room. Also, tell a bartender you want an angel shot or ask for Angela at the bar. I learned this from a firefighter video I saw years ago. If you are ever choking and there is nobody to help you, lay on the floor on your hands and knees, then drop your body to the floor. This should create a sudden puff of air, pushing the food out of your throat. If at first you don't succeed, try it again. It can save your life. I worked overnight at a gas station when I was younger. I always greeted everyone immediately to let them know I noticed them, especially if it was someone I hadn't seen before. This actually kept me from getting robbed one night. A guy came into my store, and I just said something like, "What's going on, man?" or something like that, and he seemed caught off guard and then said he forgot his wallet in the car and drove off. He immediately went and robbed the store down the street. Luckily no one was harmed, but still pretty crazy. Sucking out snake venom doesn't work. If you've been bitten by a venomous snake, take a clear picture from a distance and call an ambulance immediately. The picture will be used to identify the snake species in order to get the most effective antivenom. If you see a venomous snake, do not approach to kill it or relocate it. This is how people get bitten. Spray it with water and it should leave, or wait 30 minutes, and it will be gone. Getting close to a venomous snake with the intent to kill it is how you will get bitten. If you see a snake that you can't identify 100%, don't pick it up. If you are trapped in a burning building and your exits are blocked by flames, make sure there is no fire on the other side, put a blanket over you if you have one around, tuck your face down, then run through the flames. Immediately throw the blanket off of you as it will be on fire, but you won't. A hooded jacket could work too, just be aware that your legs will be uncovered, so once you throw the jacket off, immediately stop, drop, and roll to put the fire out on your legs. This works best if you are going out a window or a door to the outside. Don't do it if you aren't sure there is no fire on the other side. If you run through a burning doorway into a hallway that is also completely on fire, you're done. If a grease fire starts, use baking soda to put it out, then put a lid over it to smother it, and turn off the heat source. Do not use any water to put it out, it will only make it worse. Call your local fire department if it gets out of control. Dull knives are more dangerous in the kitchen than sharp knives. A sharp knife is easy to use, and you don't struggle at all. A dull knife causes you to jerk or make uncontrolled movements because of how much force you apply. So, you might cut yourself with a sharp knife if you aren't paying attention. It will sting, but chances are you'll just need a band-aid. A dull knife and you might stab pretty deeply. If you sit down to poop in prison, remove one foot completely from your pants so you can get up and fight if attacked. Make sure you ask your doctor to check your thyroid for lumps even if you have no symptoms. It's a simple field test at the base of the throat. When I was 35, he did this as part of the intake physical and found I had stage 3 thyroid cancer that had compromised a lymph node. No doctor had ever checked me before for it, and I am like a magnet for cancer due to a rare genetic predisposition. I have been alive 19 years because of this. Don't eat a lot of food right away after a long fast. My great-grandfather was an Italian soldier and prisoner of war during World War II. As his camp was liberated, the American troops gave the starving prisoners as much food as they could eat, but he knew better and did not indulge. He and the Americans watched in horror as cramps and nausea took over and most of the prisoners died. This one actually saved my life. I watched a show when I was kid on Discovery Channel that was all about being in a fire emergency. They explained that if you are ever in a house fire, then you should get on the ground because 90% of fire deaths are caused by the extreme amounts of CO2 that is produced during fire, and then get trapped in your lungs, as opposed to the misconception that you die on a fire because of the heat or burning or things falling down. Well, my apartment burned down brutally in 2015. The extractor had a lot of grease and fire got into it caused by heating some oil. All the ceiling started burning. It was terrifying. It was even in the Rotterdam newspaper and in the news. Never thought I was going to end up in a house fire. The fireman told me that I survived only because I got in the ground immediately and crawled out like a baby. The paint that burned and other ceiling materials were extremely toxic. They were surprised my lungs were so clean after the medical inspection. So now you know, if you are ever caught in a fire, cover your mouth and get in the ground as soon as possible, because all the gases go up. Thank you. Uncountable hours I spent as a kid in America watching Discovery Channel.